Good morning, my name is Kirsty Dignam and I'm here to look at the collective energies for this week. As always, if something is said that resonates with you, that you feel you can connect to, or that you may need to work on, or that you want support from, please give me a heads up, please contact me. And if nothing resonates with you, then let it go. It really feels like that's the energy today, this week, always. In particular, what I normally do before I do a video is connect to what I'm feeling, and I'm a real big advocate of knowing where we are in regards to what is going on around us, and when we're in that space we're able to then actually translate all the messages that are available. And this morning, doing my normal routine, taking the dog out for a walk, all those kind of things, there were bits that I could pick up on. My dog barking at another dog, certain things that were occurring around me whilst I was walking, passing certain people. But they were all outside of me, and it feels like this week is a great opportunity to really hone in to the messages that are actually applicable to us. So I spent last night in and out of dream time with some quite disturbing images about people that I love and about the world at large. And my knee-jerk reaction this morning when I got up was to panic, to worry for the circumstances. And I've just turned my dining room into a therapy room and decided to actually use my own tools on myself. And I do every day anyway, but what feels very poignant is taking it to the next level, to really be present in what it is we do for others, and to really start applying that to our own life and to ourselves as needed. I think particularly in the more spiritual circles, when it comes to healing and reading and things like that, we don't always recognize that the messages that we're sharing are also relevant to ourselves, and that feels very, well, reflective this week in particular, to take stock of what we're sharing and how that does apply to where we are and what we may need in the actual message as well. Everything is a relationship. The relationship with yourself, the relationship with the tarot, the relationship with each other, the relationship with spirituality. Everything is a relationship, including those that we work with, for, alongside. So there's always give and take in a relationship. There's always a flow in a relationship. Let's call it that rather than give and take now. There's always a flow in a relationship, and we learn just as much as we teach. We heal, that makes me quite emotional, just as much as healing others. So everything we do for somebody, we actually receive back. So this morning's guidance, there was a big emphasis on the heartbreak that is underneath the illusion of this flow needing restrictions. That's what I hear, restrictions. This flow needing to be done in a certain way when actually it occurs around us all the time. And the advice that I got this morning was very much, if it's not relevant, if it affects your flow, you know, if it chains your heart, if it stops you from being who you are, move on now. And at this time of year, we can talk a lot about resolutions. We can talk a lot about what we want to bring in the next 12 months. What feels incredibly valuable is to take stock and go beneath that, beyond that, and look at the flow, the very energy that we're trying to manifest in this next coming year. So the messages around me today, yes, I could have applied them to myself. I could have adapted them to apply them to myself. And that feels like the other emphasis this week. Not a need-to-know basis, but a relevance basis. We can take everything that's occurring and adapt it to our life and get the messages that we want. But what that does is affect the messages that are actually for us. So, going back to the original introduction in this video, if it resonates with you, if you need aid with it, if you want to know more, or if it's just sparked something in you. And you will know, the message this morning, the guidance this morning is, you will know from your heart. You will feel when something is right for you. And it may not feel comfortable, but you will feel when there's a message there for you. I remember years ago working with crystals, and there were many that I would pick up and feel great. And there were some that I would pick up and feel quite an adverse reaction to. And I firmly believed that I didn't need those in my life. And I came across the most incredible teacher who actually said to me, if they've caused a reaction in you, there's something they need to teach you. So really looking at that this week. If something causes a reaction within you, trusting that emotional intelligence, and looking at what the underlying message might be there. So when I was walking the dog, as I say, not a lot of it was actually relevant to me, and I could make it relevant, but it felt like giving space to what needed to come through now, rather than trying to find the answers before the recording had even started. Yeah, it's one thing to feel into what is occurring. It's another thing to go so deep that we make it about ourselves and start applying those messages purely to ourselves. And this week there feels like an opportunity to go beyond that now. What else was there? I did look at the cards briefly because there was nothing going on. There was, but nothing that felt like it wanted to be spoken of. And the cards that came up were the Devil, Strength, and Judgment. So yeah, this week in particular, really having the strength to look at the things that tie us back, the old belief patterns in regards to flow. It feels really poignant in regards to flow. And what I'm hearing here is, what is flow, Kirsty? Describe what you mean by flow. And what I mean is connection. So let's even change the word of flow completely now to the word connection. It's definitely what this year is about, being the Lovers and the Devil's card. Connection. How we feel in that connection, the energy that runs through that connection, whether it's to ourselves, whether it's to each other, whether it's to the earth, whether it's to guidance, whether it's to messages. How balanced do we feel in that connection? So this morning I could have quite easily seen everything as a message, and it is, but I didn't actually have any questions. So if I'd continued with that energy, I would be like the tug of war. I would be pulling more, and the universe would kind of have to give less. So there needs to be a real balance with our connection, and that comes from really standing in our own this week with no judgment. You know, a great opportunity this week to rise above who we thought we were, which is going to take some strength. It's going to take some strength and some elevation. It's not strength, it's elevation. It's going to take lifting ourselves up this week to connect to our own divinity. Now, I don't know about anyone else, but this week in particular, I've been very aware of old connections coming back up, old ideas and plans coming back up. And they've been great. They've been absolutely wonderful, because it's nice to know that actually the things that we may have put on the back burner can be coming back round for a second chance. Be that relationships, careers, whatever. Ideas, dreams, manifestations. But for me this week, these connections have been more like a springboard. They have literally taken me from that to that, to that, to that. And really, it feels very... I'm seeing an analogy of a frog jumping on a lily pond. You know, what is a frog? A frog is an incredible creature that comes out of the water and in the water, so can be grounded in their own emotions, but that develops from a tadpole. And when you look at the cycle of a tadpole, I don't even know where I'm going now, you know, it's an incredible journey. It's an incredible journey. And when something comes along as a message, this week in particular, use it as a springboard. It's not the whole message. It's a mere introduction into what the message could be. And that will depend on how far you want to take it. So these old ideas of mine that are coming back are beautiful, and I can concentrate on those. That'll be absolutely fine. There's no judgment there. There's no judgment there, only the opportunity of completion. And I may very well do. I can also use them to springboard onto other ideas. And the more I do that, the bigger the vision for this year is getting. Like the lily pads that you can jump on as a frog. And, you know, whatever you decide, there's a real emphasis on playing it small, playing it big this year, whatever. Whatever you decide, it isn't about the lily pad that you jump on. It's about the flow and the energy and the connection behind it. So if you decide last year's dreams, actually, I still want to keep going with those, great, give them your all. If you want to look at them as a springboard to the next step, give it your all. If you want to do none of the above, do it with 110% presence. It feels really important to recognize that the ultimate message behind any message, whether it's connecting to your loved ones, whether it's connecting to the tarot, whether it's prayers with God, whether it's healing, the ultimate message behind all of them is to remember who you are and really reconnect to your soul energy, your own divinity. The devil does that by bringing everything to light that isn't. Okay, so being aware of that this week and just rising above it with no judgment. The emphasis that I got for 2022 whilst walking my dog the other day, it actually led to a random blog, which I'll put in the comments a link to. But the emphasis that I got for 2022 was actually quite an affirmation, and it was really clear. And it was 2022, the year to be you. And that feels like the energy for the next 12 months to really accept who you are at any given stage as part of your own soul progress, as part of connecting to that higher energy that you are. In the Lovers card, you have the masculine, the male, the fire tree, the passion, that kind of element, looking at the female. And she has the Kundalini snake there. She has the healing. She has the reflective energy. And she is actually looking up towards the archangels, up towards that higher vibration, up towards that unity of all aspects. The feminine, you know, the masculine, the actions, the reflection, the doing, the being, all of it together now this year. If you choose to see angelic presence as outside of you or source as outside of you, then that's absolutely fine. If you choose to see it as part of yourself, again, that's absolutely fine. What is important is remembering that it's our connection to who we are and to these higher energies that is vital this week in particular. Remembering that we can connect to a higher energy, whether that's angelic, whether that's guides, whether that's galactic, whether that's God, whether that's tarot, whether that's our future version, dreams and ambitions. We connect to it. Remember that power. Remember that we all have within us, because we do. And we do that through our actions, and we do that through our emotions. We do that through the current that flows through us. Don't forget who you are. So with that in mind, 14 minutes in. Yeah, not bad for someone that had nothing to say before reading the cards. This is the beauty of letting go of expectation this week in particular. Letting go of needing to know what the energies are, letting go of needing to know the outcome. You know, January can be a very heavy month, and it's the month known for the highest depression rates, and there's a real, almost a push energy this time of year to let go of the old and bring in the new, and this is how I expect the next 12 months to be. It doesn't feel as relevant this year round, and I think, you know, the last few years with having to put plans on hold, we've all kind of got to a point where we appreciate flow more. what I'm hearing is that doesn't mean we're a victim of flow. That doesn't mean we have no say in it. That doesn't mean we have no control over it. But it does mean we have, over the last few years, recognised that it's a partnership. You know, we can want things, but that it needs to coincide with the universe, that it's a relationship and a connection. And I think we've all looked at that in our own ways over the last few years. But this week in particular, it feels very much to let go of expectation, even, interesting, even expectation of nothing happening as well. You know, even the expectation of believing that we have or cannot make plans just in case. What feels very, very, very stable this week is to go into the heart and do what we feel in that moment. And that only comes from presence of who we are. So for argument's sake, with myself, with the healing and the tarot and guidance and things like that, taking it to the next level, really being present with my healing. Only then can we recognise how much we've changed, when we're actually really present in the relationship with ourselves. So energies this week, interesting. I can see a mermaid in the shape, a mermaid shape in my drum, which is very interesting, and how it looks like a dragonfly. So the cards that I'm using this week are the Spellcaster's Tarot by Melanie Marquis. I asked which cards to use and I just couldn't get them out of my vision. And that feels quite, feels like it could bring a lot of clarity this week, the things that we just cannot get out of our sight. So there's one thing to recognise messages, but really look out for those that keep repeating themselves in different ways. This week in particular. Okay, energies for this week. I've moved my room around and I have the most beautiful picture of Mary Magdalene straight above my desk, and she's just at the moment so serene. And there's a lot of sparkles around her head, and it reminds me of a, oh, we'll keep, how funny, the star card. Okay, there's a lot of sparkles around her head, and it reminds me of an app that I have on my Fitbit, and it's a breathing app. And when you can align your breath, the more you do it on the app, the more sparkles you get. And that feels really relevant as the star card has fallen out, to really just align with our breath this week, to really align with our higher energy this week. Because Mary's looking so, yeah, I will say, I almost avoided saying Mary's looking at me, but Mary's looking at me with such endurance. Is that the word? It's like a mixture of endurance and endearment. It's like a really having compassion for the endurances that we've all occurred this week, you know, over the last few years, and how endearing that trait can be, you know, that ability to keep rising. It feels like a real higher heart energy, and, you know, the picture has got a lot of pinks and teal and turquoise and purple in there, and there does feel like almost a mixture of the violet ray and the turquoise ray together in our communication. There's a lot of blue there as well in our communication that comes from the heart and the higher heart. Really, really, really feel a lot of energy around the third eye, the heart, the altar major, the throat this week in particular. And to wear that with pride, she holds a rose, and a rose gently, softly blooms. So that's that endurance, that's that endearing of opening up slowly, softly. You know, this year very much is about being raw, naked, real. The Lovers and the Devil card both portray naked people. But being gentle with ourselves with that, and wearing that as a badge. You know, she's holding the rose almost like a brooch, wearing that with honour this week. Okay. Right. I could have zoned out then, shuffling the cards. So that feels When we connect to the tarot, we connect to the collective consciousness. They are keys to the subconscious, okay? And they work by getting us into a meditative state. So whether that's walking, whether that's using tarot cards, whether that's connecting to your guides or praying to God or whatever, the arms of your lovers, whatever it is you do this week, it's very much about connecting to that meditative flow, that deeper connection. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, overall. So I'm really interested to see that Wednesday and Thursday, different deck of cards, different scenarios, but Wednesday and Thursday portray the two cards that I picked this morning. You know, what are the chances of that? The two cards that I picked this morning, and they are the Three of Swords and the Moon card. Now, this morning's guidance was very much to give and receive from the heart, to do the things that call to your heart now, to allow the heart to be that emotional intelligence, that wild, that what we would call selka, that inner wild, that undomesticated version of yourself that isn't held in place with judgments of how you should be it your own or others. And that feels like it will really come to light round about the Wednesday, Thursday time from today, because the cards have come up this morning as well and again. So whatever occurs for you today, we have the Knight of Cups flowing with it, knowing that it is helping to rebuild the relationship with the heart, to rebuild the truth behind the messages of the heart, to help hear the inner call of our own cycles now, of our own yearnings now, of the very thing that continues to, yes, the endearing endurance. You know, we can say that we've gone down and we've risen again and we keep doing this and we're this and we're this and we're this, but what energy is underneath that? Find the language of your heart. So the other day I wrote down some of my own strengths, and mine most definitely is hope. Hope keeps me going. Hope in myself, hope in each other, hope in the earth. Belief. Find your belief this week in particular. And this morning it really feels like connecting to that will become paramount. It will become paramount, and you may find there are times you are drawn to say, this is what I believe in. Remember, when we are drawn to do that, a lot of the time it's for our own benefit, because we may not be believing in it as much as we think we are. So with the Knight of Cups, really, really, really looking at how real you are connecting to your own beliefs. It's not about walking the path. I want to say walk your talk, but it isn't. We're talking water here. We're talking emotions here. So it's more like swim your psyche. Really swim your psyche today. Really connect to the power. And I'm looking at the star card now, and it's almost like the ancient, you know, this star card with the Egyptian woman, I think it's Nefertiti, really looking at the ancient wisdom that is available to us all, whether you connect to it through tarot or prayer, or it really doesn't matter. It's available to all. So today, when those emotions come up, when those ideas of creativity are evident or surrounding you, or you feel it's time, raise your cup, connect, ask for your fill, which only you can do by connecting to your own relationship, your own needs and your own desires, your own soul on the Monday. And yes, by the Wednesday, Thursday, that is going to bring in a new language that's necessary for your heart, necessary to bring all aspects of your heart together. And we do have, I almost want to jump forward to the Wednesday now. So no, we're going to pause. And we're going to bring it back till tomorrow. Tomorrow, the Ace of Pentacles. yes, okay, the new beginning and everything else, but what I really see here in this card, I don't know if you can see that, okay. Yeah, won't quite focus yet, which feels quite relevant. What I can see in this card is the Ace of Pentacles has almost become a shield. So that new beginning, making sure it isn't what's defending us. Yeah, it isn't giving cause to defend us. The squirrel in the front, what do squirrels do? They harvest, they collect everything that they need and they store it just in case. There is benefits to that because a squirrel will carry so much that it drops a lot of the nuts along the way, and that's what actually grows the new trees around them that then produces the nuts that they collect later on. So there is a benefit to wanting to achieve it all and hoarding and holding on to things. Just don't forget to drop the unnecessary stuff. You know, rather than using our dreams and our ambitions as something to defend ourselves here, letting it fall. Which is really interesting for an Ace of Pentacles, because an Ace of Pentacles, okay, culturally speaks of a new beginning. But this week, particularly Tuesday, we really need to go with the guidance that we're receiving and what we feel. And for me, that new beginning, what I'm feeling is that new beginning can only come by releasing what we've been defending. Again, it's going back to the original message. We can go with our dreams that we've carried forward, or we can use them as springboards, and that will be different for everybody. On the Wednesday, Three of Swords. Stereotypically, heartbreak, separation, endings. And now I hear, but more new beginnings than the Ace of Pentacles this week. So on the Tuesday, what comes through may seem like a new beginning. I really feel that in my chest and my head, actually. But ask yourself, is it? Is it a new beginning? Does it speak to your heart? Or is it a repetition of the very thing that has been causing the illusion and tearing you apart from what it is you're longing for? Interesting energy by the Wednesday, Thursday. So, as I've mentioned, the Thursday is the Moon card. I was going to say it feels that way all week, like an illusion type energy, but that was a real knee-jerk reaction. This week in particular, it may feel like the energies are confusing. Look into them though, are they? There are only certain points that may be confusing, and that could come from the belief that it's all an illusion. Not everything is an illusion, and what I'm seeing here is an opportunity to fine-tune the few almost loose wires that have been stopping the flow for us this week in particular. So we can have an idea and think, right, well, no, it's not working. It must be, you know, a pipe dream or whatever. But actually, it might just need a few buds taken off of it so that it can grow in a better way. Not everything is an illusion this week, but definitely keeping an eye round about the Thursday. And there's also a moon on the moon card. Okay, let's stop. A moon, a picture of the moon on the Nine of Cups. Interesting, the Wish card on the Saturday. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Yeah, okay, so Thursday, Saturday. Quite a few confusing energies there in regards to, again, what is it we actually want? What is it that's actually being offered to us? But before we do that, on the Friday, we have the Five of Pentacles. Now, I love, on the moon card on the Thursday, there's a dog. On the Friday, there's a dog. And it's almost like our animal instincts have called up for what it is to be brought to light now. And on the Friday, us moving forward from that. You know, like, I need to show you these two cards. Like, on the Thursday, sorry, this one. The dog has called up for a message. On the Friday, he has returned the message and helped us move forward from the, I've just changed the cards around, from the feeling stuck energy, from the lack of hope, from the not knowing which one to take forward, from the not knowing how to move forward energy. So whatever comes up on the Thursday, whatever feelings on the Wednesday and Thursday actually that come up, use them as an opportunity to speak to your higher energy. Whether that is God, whether that is your guides, who loved ones, really call out from these feelings that you are feeling for guidance, and wait for a response that speaks to your heart. It sounded like my bracelet just knocked to the door. Wait for a response that speaks to your heart, that you know has come from that energy that you sent up, in order to move forward on the Friday. Because on the Saturday, it feels clearer now. The energy feels clearer, and it's the 9 of Cups. And originally, when I started to look at the week with that feeling of the whole week being confusing, Saturday felt very confusing, but now it feels clear. And you can see this card here. The genie is very much arms crossed across his chest, real determined look on his face. Well, what do you actually want then? So what is it you actually want then? You don't want A, B, C, D, da, 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 da. What is it you actually want? I'm feeling very drawn to something about the generations. We have 9 cups here, but we start the week with the Knight of Cups here, and it feels very much about knowing your place within your ancestry. It doesn't mean that you have to take these things forward. Know your place, know your cup, fill your cup, because ultimately that is what your ancestors want from you or for you. On the Sunday, we have the 4 of Wands, so 4 of Swords, sorry. So all this active energy of emotional energy and confusion and everything else. What's the biggest key to it? 4 of Swords. Stop, pause, relax, breathe. Be with this wild energy of yours. This Salka, this emotional energy, this mental energy, this physical energy, this soul energy. You know, it reminds me very much of the Wisdom Keeper writes in the Moon Eye Key, and just really going to that elevated state of wisdom that can come from just being with what is going on for you right now, particularly mentally. You're guarded, you're guided, you're held, ironically, by the very thing that we often try and fight, which is that emotional energy that we don't want to face for whatever reason. That thing that calls out for help, that thing that can take it no more, that energy within us that knows something needs to change. That Salka, that wild, undomesticated version of ourselves, is the very thing that's guarding us, protecting us, helping us move forward. It is about being brave enough to lie down and listen. Okay. Overall this week we have the 6 of Wands. So it might not feel like it. It feels like quite a off week. But now I'm seeing almost like the tail end of a, is it a comet? It's something, it's like a flick, like a tail end of something. And it is literally the tail end. Oh, it's the fish on the Knight of Cups. It's the fish on the Knight of Cups. Find your seat in these energies now, okay? Don't sit on the end of the tail. Make the story about you and find your place within the narrative. Be successful in who you are. Again, 2022 is the year to do you. So be you. Okay, be guided by your higher vision. Now, on this card, I don't know if you can see it, but she has a real blurry camera. Ah, thank you. Thank you. She has an eagle on her shoulder, and it's her right shoulder. Yeah, it's her masculine shoulder. I was going to say there's a very blurry vision, and it wasn't the vision. The vision wasn't blurry, it was the camera. And the moment I acknowledged that and refused to say that the vision, the star card, was blurry, because it isn't, the camera sorted itself out. So it does feel very much about having faith and belief in what you wish to achieve, having faith and belief in the very thing that has been calling you and putting most of us through quite a journey with our heart and our connections to who we are, each other and source. Having faith and belief in what it is that is guiding your actions now will help you focus. And it's the lack of focus that is causing the blurriness, not the vision itself. Okay, so 35 minutes. Brief recap then. We have two cup cards, although the star is holding two vessels as well. I'm hearing that that's not relevant. That's to do with the universe. Okay, so whatever is going on around us, being released, being brought back in, whatever, this week in particular, really, really focusing on our role within that and what's relevant to us, not getting too caught up on the environment and the stars and what is occurring externally this week. We have two cup cards, and they are the Knight of Cups and the Nine of Cups. Really remaining focused in where you are, your part of the story, what it is you are bringing now, and placing that cup up in the air and asking for what you need to keep doing your part. A lot of us can get very, very caught up when it comes to manifesting things for it being for the greater good, which is beautiful, that it's okay for everybody else. And ultimately this week, and I need to take this on board myself, bringing it back to the self. What do you need to continue your part in the story? It's almost like an empathic relationship with the universe. So those that have been watching know that I've been going through a lot of empathic retraining, and that really feels poignant for us all. A lot of empathic retraining and what empathy actually is. You know, the ability to hold space without the guidance, without trying to jump in and fix it for people, knowing that they have the power to sort out their own life, but holding space for that. And this week it feels like it's taking on another level in regards to the universe around us, knowing that the universe has got this, and whatever you are asked to do, it is to hold space and do your part, not to do it for others or the universe. So we then have two pentacle cards. Interesting. So two cups, two pentacles. So that physical balance here, and we have the Ace of Pentacles and the Five of Pentacles. Really looking at what we're letting go of. Are we actually letting go of the things that have held us back and connected us to energies like the devil or whatever? Or are we letting go of the very dreams that can move us forward? Really, really looking at that this week. Looking at what we use to protect, you know, all those reasons why things can't happen, all those reasons behind the Five of Pentacles, why nothing changes, why things can't happen. Let go of that. Let go of that belief. And that could be ancestrally, that could be externally, but really letting go of that belief. A lot of the beliefs that we have, a lot of the prejudices, stereotypes that we have come from a time when we possibly have either inherited them or needed them to survive. That isn't the case this week. So what ones do you not need to use to protect yourself? Let them go. Let them go. The heart is stronger than you realise. It has been through so much, and it feels this week with the Three of Swords and the Moon that we may not realise just how much the heart can do and can take and can grow and can heal. You know, a lot of the times we hold on to things or do things a certain way is because we worry how we will cope if it isn't that way. Let it go. Trust the heart this week. Let go of the illusions that we have behind our own heart this week, and the heart at large, you know, the collective heart as well. So there is, gosh, 2 sword cards. So 2 cups, 2 pentacles, 2 swords, 2 sword cards as well. So really balanced this week so far, physically, emotionally and mentally, which is just beautiful. The 2, the scales, the the star, the balance here, really, really almost in alignment with our dreams this week in particular. So 2 swords, having that peace. We have the 3 of swords and the 4 of swords. How do we move from heartache to rest? It is about having that peace. The 2 swords, not covering our heart like the genie is, but being open. Yeah, being open, not holding in what is here. Being open to it. Now, I don't mean you have to wear your heart on your sleeve or be more vulnerable than you're comfortable being or anything like that. You know, I mean more be open to yourself and your own emotions this week, more than anybody else's. When we get confused, when we get heartbroken and things like that, it's normally when we have lost connection with ourselves. Obviously, I'm not talking about other external events, but when we feel that energy within us, that confusion, it is because we've lost connection with ourselves. So this week in particular, taking that time to be with you. So there is 1 wand card here, but that feels like it's enough this week, because it does feel like the last few years have almost give us that spiritual oomph, that resilience, that endurance to achieve what it is we're trying to achieve. But it's almost like we need to remember that 6 of Wands. We need to remember the very victories that we have achieved. We need to remember that it isn't the vision that's blurry, but what we've chosen to focus on. Has it been the 3 of Swords? Has it been the 5 of Pentacles? Has it been the illusions, the moon? You know, have we focused purely on what we are trying to achieve and not quite got there? Have we rested over 2021? Do we want the new beginning? Do we want things to stay the same? You know, there's no right or wrong here. It's about recognizing what part of that is your vision to take forward. A lot of the times we experience things so that we can then help others with it. So what part of 2021 really stood out for you that can help you move forward now and possibly help others? What part of 2021 helped you recognize the King of Cups, the Knight of Cups that you are, your flow, what it is you are here to offer, what it is that will bring victory to your life, that you are here to celebrate? There's a reason we have 1 wand card. Do you know, the last few days I've had the 6 of Cups, the 6 of Swords, the 6 of Wands. And if we think we're in a 6th year, you know, we've got 6 of Cups, 6 of Swords, 6 of Wands, 6 of Pentacles. Harmony now. We only need to recognize who we are in order to be victorious, regardless what that is, whether that's devastating circumstances, happy circumstances, relationships, work, whatever. When we know who we are, when the vision of ourself continues to guide us, when we can focus on that clarity, everything is a victory worth celebrating. Then there is no it being a bad thing or a good thing. It's endurance and endearment for the soul and for the spirit and the path that it's walking. Then we swim in our psyche. So we have 2 major arcanas. The star came out of its own accord, and that feels quite relevant actually, that the vision will come when the time is right. It was actually at the beginning of the reading, and yeah, for most of us our higher vision is there from the moment of birth. Excuse me, that's a bit of a shifter. Knowing that our highest vision is there actually from birth, our blueprint is there from birth. It's up to us whether we decide to achieve it, and in every waking moment we are actually achieving it, because it's there, it's who we are, it's why we're here. But it is there from birth, and knowing that it was there first and really connecting to that this week in particular, and recognizing that many of our dreams are part of that healing process of remembering our unique blueprint. Now I see the Nine of Cups as ancestral, but very, very, very far back now. Remembering who you are. 2022, the year to be you. We also have the Moon card. And it's beautiful how we have 17 with the star and 18 with the moon. And what I'm hearing is, why is it beautiful, Kirsty? And what's beautiful for me is it follows the natural order. It follows the natural flow of the tarot, which is the soul's journey, the soul's map. It's step after step after step. So really recognizing this week where you are at on your own soul's journey, what that natural step would be then. I just closed my eyes and could see the earth. What that natural step would be, finding the natural order for you, and you will know this week because you will feel it, and anything else is an illusion. Anything else is an illusion this week, whether it is, I'm hearing it doesn't matter what it is, anything that you don't feel in your heart this week, don't defend it. Even if it offers a new beginning, or promises, wishes and dreams coming true, or to celebrate your victories, or anything that isn't of the heart. You have been the squirrel, you have done the work, you've saved the nuts. It's been crazy, this journey, but anything that you don't feel in the heart this week, do not defend it. Do not give it any focus, because all it is doing is distracting you, detracting you, detaching you, I want to say, from the vision that has been guiding you through all of this. Again, whether that's tarot, whether that's God, whether that's source, your higher self, your ambitions, your purpose, your job, whatever, your heart, anything that doesn't come from the heart, that doesn't speak to the heart, isn't of the heart. Be very, very aware of that this week in particular. So I'm going to pick one more, Three of Pentacles. Okay, this week I did notice it when I was talking about the dog that had come to give the message on the Five of Pentacles. Really check around you this week. Who's going to help you grow? Who's going to help you move forward? Who's going to help you connect? I've just noticed the squirrel in the bottom. Yeah, who's going to help you take the most of everything that you've collected so far and build that new beginning? Do some searching, do some digging, get out there. But remember, ultimately, only you know your own answers. Ultimately, only you can do the journey. Ultimately, this is your blueprint, your vision. Anything that says opposite, maybe have a feeling to with the heart this week in particular. So I think that's it. Is there anything else? Let's just sit. I think 50 minutes is long enough. Yeah, and isn't it ironic? We do sit and think, is there anything else? And even my own guidance, it can be like, there isn't anything else, Kirsty. Just find a way to close the video. That's it. A lot of the energy this week in particular will feel as if we need to hold on to make sure. We'll feel as if we need to investigate a little bit further, even though we may have felt it in our heart that something is done, something is over, something is ready to be closed. What we're actually doing is almost trying to shelter ourselves from that inevitable closing of what is occurring. So I sit and I ask, is there anything else? And of course, the card I get is the Ten of Wands. Last week's video, looking into the eyes of the devil, is there anything else? If we keep looking into the face of the thing that we don't want anymore, or that isn't speaking to our heart, asking if there's anything else, there will be something else. Of course, there always will be, because what we're doing is not wanting, understandably, to let go of whatever is occurring. However, we're losing focus on the vision that's guiding us and our own connection. So the only thing this week is to listen to the heart. Listen to the heart and the truth within the heart that guides us forward. Take care. Have a wonderful, wonderful week. It does feel a bit cluttered, but yeah, just until the energies settle. Take care and let your heart be your vision. If uncertain at all, let your heart guide you. Take care.